Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 2 of Life in Racer's Lane. Today we have on Mr. Legeman and Mr. Pohlman. How are you guys doing?
Good.
Doing great.
Doing good? Great, yeah. Happy to be here. So we have a couple questions and a couple topics about the College of Business and what it is at UNOH. So firstly, I want to hear about you guys. I want you guys to tell the viewers and the listeners what kind of people you are, how you got to UNOH, and what profession you guys are in.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and start. So I come from a background of sales and marketing in the medical device industry. Did that for about 10 years and then did a little stint in a startup company in the ag tech industry. Got a lot of experience there. Then the opportunity came to teach here, teaching marketing courses. So I jumped on that opportunity, and a lot of what I do in the classroom is take the real world experiences I've had on the subject matters that I'm teaching about now and try to apply that to what we learn in textbooks.
Perfect.
Yeah. Similar to Alan, I come from a sales and marketing background. Been involved in NASCAR for over 30 years, sold sponsorships, worked for teams. I also managed race teams, was a part owner in my own team for a while. And from there, got to the point that had an opportunity to help put together a motorsports marketing and management program here through the school, and decided to take them up on it. And here I am today, started in 2022.
Got it. So one thing I wanted to touch up on was, what would you say is the most monumental thing or monumental skill that you guys learned to get you to where you guys are at today? What was the most valuable piece of information or skill that you learned to be where you're at today?
Yeah, I would say the skill that I've learned really has been the people skills, the soft skills. That, for the career paths that myself and Mr. Legeman were in sales, it is a lot about reading people, understanding people, and what drives them and what motivates them. And that's a skill that I believe is transferable, not just into marketing, but pretty much in any career path you go down. You're going to probably have to work with people. And some of the lessons I've learned, it's countless. To pick one, it'd be hard to pick just one. But if I had to choose one, I would say it was be clear in what you want, what fulfills you in your career path and in your life. Find out what you're good at, and then see if you can find a career path or a job where you can get paid to do what you're good at. I happen to be good at connecting with people. I love working with people. So the career path of sales was a very natural path for me.
For me, the best piece of advice I ever got was from Richard Jackson. He owned a race team. He and his brother Leo both owned NASCAR teams for a number of years. But Richard told me, and Leo backed it up, always be a student of the sport or a student of whatever business you're in. He says you can get to the point that you feel like you completely understand it. About the time you have a complete understanding, laws will change, rules will change, it'll change the environment, and you'll have to relearn what you're doing to make it, to be successful. I think for us, AI is probably that right now. That's the next skill set that we need to learn to continue our careers and be effective with people.
Well, I'd say too, that's with that, we're still learning.
Yeah.
I always tell people I still don't know what I want to be when I grow up.
I want to be like Alan, but that's a whole story.
But the point is, it's like, I think that's what I've learned as I'm getting older is that you never stop learning. And I'm probably my greatest lesson still is yet to come. But I'm always looking and learning and trying to adapt and evolve.
And I think one more thing is listening properly to people, making sure that sometimes it's not what they're saying, sometimes it's what they're not saying, and learning to interpret that so that you can help bring them along and satisfy what they need. All of business is satisfying needs in win-win situations. And that way you can find out what they need and have a clearer picture going forward.
And I think understanding what your client wants, understanding what the goal you're trying to accomplish goes a lot back to what you said with the people skills, with understanding how to properly communicate with other people. So how important would you say it is to genuinely understand how to speak with other people in the College of Business?
I think it's vital within the College of Business. And again, that transfers into a lot of the things we do. Try to look to be of service to others, especially in the fields that we teach, of sales and marketing. Always look for how can I help other people? And a couple things come from that. It's kind of a snowballing effect of you feel good when you help somebody. And when you receive help from somebody, they feel good about that. And then that transfer to the passing it on. And then they want to go help other people. I think that's kind of a misunderstanding of sales and marketing, but especially in sales. A lot of people think sales is about being a smooth talker and knowing the right things to say to get people to do what you want them to do. That's not it. It's really about finding what's the other person's interested in, what their goals are. And if you have a solution that could help them achieve it, and if you don't, that's okay too. Maybe you can point them in another direction that you can't offer. That's what professional sales really is.
Yeah, I agree with that. A lot of what you do in sales, you're not going there to make a slick presentation. You're really a facilitator, and you're finding out what they need on this side and what the other party needs as well. And sometimes there's a disconnect. You have to be the ambassador. You have to be the mediator, the go-between, and translate for both of them in each of their languages to make it come together. I had an example of that last night with a project I've been working on it. Both parties had the same idea. They didn't have trust for one another. And I had to, again, go back and say, you can trust this one individual. Go back to the other individual and say, you can trust him. You're both working in the right direction. You're just not quite there yet. And translating for each of them so they understand the concept, can then walk forward in the right direction, the same direction, and get the deal done.
And I think that really is what I love to teach, and I think Mr. Legeman as well in the classroom is shaping and changing the students' thoughts and perception of what sales and marketing is within the College of Business and what it truly means. There's what the textbook says. That's a good foundational understanding, but it goes so much deeper than that. And through our experience, I think that's what we do. And that's what a lot of instructors and professors within the College of Business, I think that's what makes our school unique, is we bring a lot of that. We really value the real world experience that we bring to the classroom. And I think that's what students appreciate the most.
Experiential marketing. We have experienced it all out in the marketplace. We encourage you to get out into the marketplace to experience it on your own. Mm-hmm. You're going to fail. That's fine. That's how you learn. You learn through failure. You minimize your mistakes. That's when things start coming together. But you got to get out there and fail, pick yourself up again and get after it to be any better at it. And we really encourage you we got to teach you the book end of it, but we really encourage you to get out and start experiencing it. Mm-hmm. For my program, the MSP, it's a lot of experiential marketing, where you have to get out and actually do it. And then you get confidence that you can actually participate in the sport in the area you want to participate in. You got the street creds, that you develop out in the marketplace, and you actually get to a point where, yes, I can do this. So,
and I feel like actually being out there and actually being in the field, doing these things, and then you fail or you do something wrong, that's where you can learn something that no classroom can actually teach you.
Correct.
Where you've failed at something that you should have been doing better, but you're never going to make that mistake again.
Yep.
Right. So could you guys go into a little bit on some stuff that you guys could have done better and what you did after that to not do it again?
You first.
Gosh, I could probably write a book on all of my failures, especially early on. One thing, I guess I'll keep it related to what we teach, sales and marketing. Early in my sales career and in my marketing career, I always thought that just staying busy was being a good salesperson. So, I remember I covered the state of Iowa, and I would drive from Iowa City to Des Moines, Iowa. It's an hour and 40 minutes just to drop off some pamphlets at a doctor's office. And it's like, what am I doing? Stuff like that when you're younger, you kind of like, that was a colossal waste of time. I could have done something better. So that happens. I fail every day. I'm a head football coach. at Delphus Jefferson High School. And, we just finished a season that was really rough, and there was a lot of failures from it. But I love what you said there, Braden. It's like, okay, failing sucks. It's not fun, and it can be detrimental if you don't take anything away from it. The key is where it's great and you love failure is when it's like, okay, that wasn't fun. How do I avoid that and get better from this and not do that again? That's just how you continue to grow.
Yeah, but I agree on that. There's been a couple of things I remember early in my career in doing sponsorships. My very first sponsorship I got done, I closed that afternoon. My commission was $1,500. I thought I was in. This is easy. Well, that was probably still to this day the easiest sponsorship I ever put together. It was for the NASCAR Busch Series and Tommy Ellis. Ever since then, everything's been work. There's times when I've just misread what the client needed, put together a presentation, and basically tried to run it down their throat, what I thought they needed. And it was 180 degrees wrong. At the time, you think you're doing the right thing. But I didn't. And that's where I learned to listen more, listen to what they need, sit back and evaluate it. Don't always feel like you got to push so hard forward that you are running it down their throat. You're trying to force them into making a bet they're in a bad decision. Just listen to them and let it come together a little bit. It's a combination. I call sales sometimes, it's like riding a horse. Sometimes you let the horse go. Sometimes you bring it back in. Sometimes you're just pacing it and understanding that pace and that cadence to get to a point that now everybody's coming together. You see it start to gel. You've applied a little bit of a catalyst to make it come together and work. And all of a sudden you have the deal done. But I've made mistakes all the way through on that.
The road to what you guys have done successfully is because you learned from those mistakes.
Correct.
As you moved along. And I think one thing that has kind of helped decrease the amount of failures has been AI, which I heard you talk about a little bit earlier. So as of today, how important is understanding AI and knowing how much of a tool it is in the careers that you guys teach?
I think I don't think it's all hype. Everybody's talking about AI, what's going to become of it. I think it's vital to understand it and learn it. And quite frankly, I'm still learning it and trying to understand it. And how do we apply it? And I think most people are in the position we're in, trying to figure that out. But as far as in the fields that we teach, a big rift that's happening right now in higher education here at UNOH is as well as, students using ChatGPT. Is that cheating? Is it not cheating? In what categories is it or is it not? Well, I teach marketing. And in marketing, to create content for a social media campaign, if a company's paying me to do that, they want results and they want them quickly. I think it'd be foolish not to use some AI chatbots to help create the content, to get more content out there quickly. But how do we go about doing that's important to understand and learn, and how do you keep it original? That's the other thing as well. We got it, and I don't have the answers yet. And I think we're trying to discover those, and we're learning together with the students, it's really an exciting time with AI. I love it. I'm kind of obsessed with it. And I feel like I'm got this fancy new toy and I don't even know how to use it.
You were telling me the other day that you were wanting to go to some sports game, right? And instead of Googling what hotels are nearby, what foods are nearby, you just told ChatGPT, hey, I got to go to this game. Yeah. What are local attractions? What are good restaurants?
Yes.
So using it as a tool, I think, is also a very important factor of it, because as you said, it's got to be original. If a client is paying you to produce good content, no AI as of now can just produce original content for you. But what it can do is guide you there and give you ideas, give you inspiration, and then be a holding hand if you need it to get to that good product.
It's awesome. And the other thing, so tie that back into marketing then. So we talk a lot about search engine optimization, right? We Google everything, and we still do Google everything. But what are companies doing so that they appear in that question of, hey, what great attractions are around Buffalo, New York? We're going to be there for the weekend. And how are companies getting their ideas and their services at the top of those searches? And that's what's within the marketing world is kind of what's turning it up on its upside down right now on its head to figure out how do we go about doing that now.
A great tool. It's an awesome tool for research. If you're talking about SEOs, it's a great tool to help establish keywords that will help you, get to the point that you really think that you've got a great front there, that you're going to be in the top 3 in Google searches for your business. It shortens that amount of time, and time is money. But it's not the end all to everything. If you use it as a research, you can use it to create some content. But I was showing my students the other day, we were talking about content origination. Yeah, you can use AI and ChatGPT to come up with original social media posts, but the ones that do the best are the ones that appear authentic.
Yeah.
We talked about Valtteri Bottas's Formula One post on Uber car share in Australia.
Yeah, you showed our class that.
Yeah.
That was a good ad.
Yeah, but the reason it worked is that the originality, the authenticity of it. They could have created that in AI and put it out there, but would it have gotten 17 million views in a week? I doubt it.
Yeah.
1.7 maybe 10% of it, but it would not have gotten the views it did because it was original, the creativity to it. Though they probably used ChatGPT and AI to come up with the ideas, idea search. Idea like, hey, what would be a good thought process? So great tool, but it's not the end all.
And that's what we have to be cautious with as marketers is that human connection, I believe, will never be replaced. And that's what, as a marketer, ultimately you're always trying to understand what emotion drives decisions. And machines don't have emotions. You can ask ChatGPT or whatever AI chatbot you want some personal questions, and it'll feel like it's saying things that might be caring about you, but it doesn't. Nothing will replace the human connection. But like you're saying, is how do you enhance creating better human connections through this tool? But don't use that tool to replace the human connection. That won't happen. And if you try that as a marketer, I don't think it's going to work out well for you in the long run.
Well, I was talking with a friend of mine about Elon Musk's robots and his robot company. Great, but they're all task oriented. A robot will never be a great salesperson.
Yep.
Because you want that human connection. You want to feel like you can trust somebody. Hard to trust a machine. You trust somebody else when you're in business and in life, making any sort of decisions. It's about trust.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And you guys worded that perfectly. I couldn't have worded it better myself. So the next thing I wanted to touch upon was, what are the different programs in the College of Business? I know there's a lot, but what are some of the few? Because I know you're motorsports marketing, and refresh me on what?
Marketing, just
marketing,
traditional marketing.
So other than those two, what are other umbrellas that people can look into under the College of Business?
Go ahead.
Business administration, we have accounting, logistics, we have as well. We have on the health side, the nursing program, correct? And some other programs based on that. And that still comes under the College of Business, health and occupation as well.
Agribusiness as well.
Ag business as well. The business side that goes in. Then on the tech side, you have ag equipment.
Yeah. So there's a lot of different options that we have as far as within the College of Business. And the nice thing too is that, if you come in here as a freshman, most freshmen don't know exactly what they want to do yet. So you might try something, and then after you take a few classes, oh, that's interesting. I actually like accounting or whatever it might be. It's pretty seamless to make that transition over to a different major within the College of Business as well. We try to make that as easy as it can be so you can discover what you like and then go study that as you progress through your career at UNOH as a student.
And one of the things we really encourage is that get out there and try different programs. If you're in the motorsports program, that's great. We're going to teach you about sponsorship, writing press releases, social media. You'll take in marketing. You'll take the 2 social media classes. But I encourage you to have a little more background in finance, reading spreadsheets, things like that, things that are going to help you. If you get to the point that you're running your own organization, you want some business classes to go with the motorsports classes and give you an overall view that fits what you're trying to get out of the program. And we encourage that. We try to remove the silos and not have you in blinders that you can only do this or you can only do that.
Yeah. So and we can go into a little bit on just motorsports marketing and then motorsports marketing, because I know that you guys are very passionate about those two things. So then tell everybody what is motorsports marketing and just go into a little bit about what all of it is.
Motorsports marketing is the business end of motorsports. And there's a huge business end on it. For this school, everybody's been dialed into the tech side, the high performance group, what you do with their working on race cars, developing race cars, race vehicles. Here it's the motorsports end. Sponsorship, which is key. It's the lifeblood of any sort of race team that you have. Social media, PR, you're going to have a business component that involves everything around your marketing, your public relations, your social media posts that help drive your return on investment with sponsors. What I really beat into my students almost literally at times is that ROI. You have to justify your existence. You have to generate return on investment. That is huge. Every company, every race team has to justify its existence every year. What did you bring in for in-kind exposure, in-kind dollars? What did you bring in for sponsorship dollars? It's a plus and a minus. You want to end up in the black, not in the red when it comes there. If you're able to make that return every year, and I've worked with sponsorships that were around for 10, 12 years, you show that return on investment, the renewal is easy. When you can't demonstrate it, it's not as easy.
Yeah. And I was talking to one of my buddies on the tech side, and he was saying, hey, I heard of motorsports marketing, but I thought that was like a couple quarters long, like a couple semesters. I didn't think it was a big thing. But I was like, I understand that. But what you don't understand is that it doesn't matter how good of a driver you are. If you don't have anybody to get you sponsorships or to get you exposure on social media, then you're not going to be a successful driver. It doesn't matter. You could be the best driver in the world. But if you don't have that business side to grow your program, to grow your brand, then you're not going to make it far anyway.
Every driver needs to understand the business side. Correct. Even when they say, I'm just a driver. And here's why. As you move up, you're going to have personally as a driver financial opportunities where it's personal services. What's that mean? If you look on any driver's helmet, Formula One or otherwise, they'll have sponsorship on their visor. They'll have sponsorship on the side of their helmets. Many of those are the spaces they're allowed to go out and get sponsors for them personally, as long as they don't conflict with the major sponsors on the team. They can get those. That's income for you. If you don't know how to get it, you're going to lose tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, possibly millions of dollars that go to your bottom line. You got to understand how to sell it, why it works, how they can get a return on their investment based on what you're going to do to promote their products.
Yeah, we can go into a little bit about marketing.
Yeah, so with marketing, I kind of look at motorsports marketing. We forgot to mention sports marketing as well.
Yeah, sports marketing.
Sports marketing.
Yeah.
Which our
Professor Gunder will
shout out.
Gunder,
Whatever, Gunder.
thank you.
But those are very specific, tailored aspects of marketing. If you want to be involved in sports and from a marketing aspect of things, that's the direction you want to go, the industry you want to go in, take sports marketing. It's specifically motorsports marketing. You love racing, you love everything about it in that environment, take that. If you're not really interested in those two different industries, that's where marketing plays a role. I kind of look at like sports marketing and motorsports marketing is almost like a very specific lure to catch very specific types of fish. It's very, very tailored to that, whereas general marketing is a wide net that you go fishing with. And what I encourage, the reason I got into marketing in the first place as a student was I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I knew within marketing, there would be a place for me. And I found that through sales. But, marketing has such a wide range of different opportunities for students to take. If you enjoy more of the people side of things, interacting with people, of course, sales is there. Public relations is another career path you can go down. That's a completely different career path. If you're more of the analytical-minded person, marketing research, learning how to aggregate data, composing the data, you can do that side of things. And now I think having a bit more of a analytical background is becoming more and more relevant within marketing with the advancements of AI and breaking that sort of thing down as well. There's just so many different career paths to go down. And if you're not quite sure, taking just a marketing major will allow for you to have a wide variety of options to go down in a career path.
And I like how you said how marketing is just like the big fishnet of everything, but then there's sports marketing where it's sports, motorsports marketing where it's motorsports. And that's what I would get a lot of the times, like leaving high school, people would say, all right, what are you doing? And then I would say, I'm going for a bachelor's in motorsports marketing. And they're like, wow, that's niche. And I'm like, it is, because I love motorsports and I love marketing. And they would love to hear what I had to say about it because I'm passionate about that niche and I'm passionate about what that is specifically. And I'm very grateful to even be here.
Yeah.
Anyway, so there's other things outside of the classroom at UNOH. There's other clubs and other organizations that we should definitely take a second to talk about. There's AMA and there's a bunch of other things out there. So other than outside of the classroom, what can students be doing in the world of marketing or motorsports marketing?
AMA,
Yep.
American Marketing Association. We have a chapter here. It's about every other year, we go to the national conference. It's a great opportunity. They have contests for our students to put teams together to present cases. You have to think quickly on your feet. Those cases are presented at the last minute. You've got usually 24 hours to go put your case together and present it with your team. But the AMA is fantastic. You get to meet other marketing students and in a couple of cases, motorsports marketing students. Some of the other college programs will be there and see what they're doing for their curriculum. What's their school experience? You start developing the most important thing in business, which is I call it your black book. Now it's your phone, but basically it's your contact list. You start with that because as your career grows, their career is going to grow as well. And that opens you up to opportunities to do business because again, I go back to the first and foremost thing, it's that trust. You have somebody's trust, you have it early, your businesses are going to grow together, maybe separate, but they'll grow together based on the trust you have with them.
Yeah, the AMA it's a great opportunity within the College of Business, and you do not have to be just a marketing or motorsports marketing major. Business admin students, digital media, anybody who has an interest in the club is more than welcome to join. And the networking aspect of it, I think, is really, really valuable. So that's something outside of the classroom. What can I be doing? Start there if you don't know. Plus, as a freshman coming in, sometimes it's a little bit scary, right? And you want to try to meet new people, maybe outside of your own dorm room, and this is a great way. Join a club, whether it's the AMA. There's a ton of other clubs on campus, but pick one. And that's just a great way to get to meet like-minded people, and you'll develop great relationships through clubs and organizations. The second thing I'll say is I strongly encourage all of our students to get involved in the AMA or something else like that because employers look for not just a high GPA. They also look for, can you handle a lot of different things at once? I always say, give me the student with a 3.0 GPA, but was also involved in the AMA, held down a job, maybe did some intramural sports, had a lot of other things going on and still getting pretty decent grades. I'll take that student over somebody who maybe has a 3.3 or 3.5 and that's all they did. Because, in the world of marketing and in business, I mean, as a marketer, you get a lot of things thrown at you. You got to be able to handle a lot of different challenges at different times. And this is a great way to kind of prep yourself for that, taking on these extracurricular activities.
The two biggest things employers tell me they look for in new employees and college graduates are communication skills. And what have they done to demonstrate that? And also time management. Can they manage their time? When you have those activities that you do outside the classroom, it shows that you're having to communicate with people so they get a better feel for you on that. And through the interview, what you get. And if it shows that you've done a bunch of different other events, you've been able to manage your time to accomplish every task in detail that you need to. Those are two of the biggest areas. The other one is soft skills, the soft skills of business. Can you properly write an email? Can you properly write a press release? Can you write a memo? Those things. For the students coming in, what we see, great thumbers, as I call them. They're great at the social media end to be able to put out posts, to be able to communicate through your phone and text. There are some business communications that you have to learn that are a part of your whole business curriculum that you're going to use outside the school. And employers want to see those types of skills, those soft skills that you can use. And I remember I had a new employee when I was at one of the race organizations. And I said, send me an email that you're going to send to one of the TV broadcasters to send them B-roll footage before we come to town with the race to help promote the race. So just send it to me like I'm the broadcaster. It started off as, hey, dude.
Oh, God. Oh, no.
So we had some work to do. But we got that employee going to where 60 days later, man, he was getting all the TV stations, no problem. I mean, just was correct business, acumen, correct business writing and finally got the flow of it on the soft skills. But it takes time sometimes. And again, those are things you don't see. We grew up writing on computers. I grew up writing on a typewriter with whiteout. You really had to know what you were doing when you're typing away. So, back when they had square wheels and the wagons and how I traveled. But anyhow, those are some of the skills that employers are looking for as you come out. Do you have some of the soft business skills that are going to be necessary for you to complete your jobs?
Yeah, and I think you guys have this networking pros to being in all these clubs, and it shows you have good time management. But I also feel like it makes your college career fun. Like on the not working aspect of it, like some of my friends, like back at high school, for example, they said like high school wasn't really my thing, didn't have too much of a good time, but they didn't do any sports. They were in barely any clubs unless their parents forced them to be in them. But the people that I know had the most amount of fun in high school and was sad to leave were the most involved, were at all the football games, were always doing work on something and getting involved with the community of the high school. And I think if you apply that to college here at UNOH and you're involved and you can show you can manage these things and actually get out there, you're going to have a great time doing it. Yep. Because there's so many different clubs where there's something for you and that you're going to love doing.
Yes, 100%. Get out of your comfort zone. I think that's the main thing, is get out of your comfort zone, try something new, and your experience will be so much better.
How many times in your business life have you had to get out of your comfort zone?
Oh my gosh.
And go do something where you're going, man, this could be a train wreck, but you got to do it. That's what you were assigned.
And you know what though? But like every time you do that, and I'm speaking on my personal experience where I was like, gosh, I really don't want to take this step or take this challenge, but I know I have to. It's daunting at first, but then afterwards, it's the greatest relief. And like, you just feel, you're like, I'm so glad I did that. I was terrified to show up at that first meeting. But then afterwards, you meet somebody cool. And then a few weeks later, like, oh my gosh, what if I didn't do that? You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like, usually on the other side of that fear is something really rewarding. And you just, that's where you got to take it upon yourself sometimes. We're telling you in this podcast, do it. Like, don't be afraid. Get out there.
Yeah. But it's so true.
You can do it.
And I can't tell you how many times I've done it. Everybody goes through this step. It's the fear of going and doing it because why am I doing this? This is stupid. I shouldn't be doing this. This isn't something I'm comfortable with. Yeah. Well, then after you do it, you go, that wasn't so bad. I mean, the week before you're sitting there, you wanted to put needles in your eyes before you'd go do this. Then afterwards you're going, oh no, that was fun. That was really good.
And if you remember that, like it makes you take those chances more and more and more, and then watch what happens.
It's the old saying, nothing ventured, nothing gained.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like the first step is always the scariest. It's always the hardest. If you want to go out and do something, actually starting to do it is the hard part. But then after you do it, you look back on it and you're like, I was afraid of that. Yeah. Or it's like, I was scared to do that. But then looking back, you're like, all right, look at how much rewarding it was. And then another opportunity comes up where it's like, I have the same feeling. I'm still feeling nervous, but look at how well it turned out a couple months ago. Yeah. So I'm going to approach it with that same mindset and it will likely work out just as well.
And you get more the more you do of anything, the more confidence you get in it. Sure. So when you try something new, you're going, man, you really don't have confidence in it. Once you do it a couple of times, all of a sudden you go, gee, that's not so bad. And you find how you can make it work for you under the framework you're working within. And that's the key, is putting it into your own language and growing. And then you get the confidence and it becomes second nature to you.
Yep.
Yeah. And you mentioned the trade show earlier. Yeah. With AMA, you mentioned there's other schools out there that have similar motorsports programs. Mm-hmm. So what would you guys say is big differentiating factor that UNOH has compared to other schools related to things that UNOH has?
I've been told by our students that meet up with other students from other programs. The other students at the other programs say, everybody in your program gets to do really cool stuff. And because I push on that, get out to the racetrack. I have all sorts of different opportunities for you, whether it's the GLSS series for sprint cars, to go run dirt races, whether it's the ARCA series. Some of our business students now are members of the ARCA Racing Club and help out over there on the social media end, and then go to the tracks and help with social media with some of the race teams. I encourage you to get out and meet. Dixon's a perfect example.
Yep.
Doing all the social media for NASCAR driver Bailey Curry. I mean, he goes to anywhere between 15 and 20 races a year, helping him all over the place. That just increases his confidence, but it also gets his name out there in the garage area to where now he's a senior. He's going to be graduating soon. He's probably got 25 different contacts with teams that he'll have no problem getting a job. But getting you out there to experience different things. The most important thing I feel with that is not only finding what makes you tick, but it's also finding out areas you don't want to go into. Okay.
Yeah.
So many times you come in as a student, and I have these interviews all the time. This is what I want to do. I want to go down this path. So you give them an experience in that outside of the classroom. They come back and go, no, I don't want to do that. You give them another experience to go out with the relationships, and they go, God, that's right in my wheelhouse. That's the direction I want to go in. So it's not only important to gain experience in the areas you want, but it's also to figure out what you don't want to do. And that's where the experiential marketing comes into effect. I'm fortunate that I've still stay relevant in the sport. I have a lot of contacts. I can get my students into opportunities that they can go and find their own way. All of the teams that I place them with are really good mentors. So they set you up to succeed, not fail. And that's probably the difference between other programs that don't have the relationships we have at the school to give you the full-blown 100% exposure and experience.
The same would be for the marketing side of things. Yep. As well as, for example, I mentioned I coach a football team, and I had a student that she ran the social media for it. She would show up. She still shows up to all the games, gets sideline pass, takes pictures during the games, show up to certain workouts we would do, max out day in the weight room, and create really cool content. But we work with the students on that. Whereas I think at other schools, sometimes there's not that level of connection to the professors as much. I pride myself, and I think we pride ourselves, we're not pretentious. It's not like we sit in this ivory tower and we can't be bothered by students. It's quite the opposite. There's a line of students waiting outside of his office every day. And we love it. Yeah, I got students that they pop in. Hey, how's it going? Hey, just eating lunch. Ran this business idea by you. And we really become connected to the students because of our small size. And that's really what makes us different. It's that experience. It's experience. That's what matters to us the most. Yeah. And I would echo everything that Mr. Legeman just said right there. Yeah.
And you said getting out there is a great tool that the students have and the great connection the students have. Yeah. And that was one of the things that I wanted to talk about is what kinds of tools do students have access to figure out what they do and don't want to do, and to actually get there and take those first steps. So what would you say are the tools the students can take advantage of while they're here?
The biggest thing is in what I call work experiences. Okay, they're not really internships. For my program, there's a mandatory internship you take in your junior year. But leading up to that, it's the work experiences, the work opportunities. I mean, it can be anything from helping out to be an ARCA official for a couple of days through tech, something that part of the sport you don't always see. Social media for race teams, writing proposals for race teams. We've had a project that several of our students have worked on that's been a cooperative between the motorsports marketing program and the marketing program that involves a new style drone. How does that relate back to the motorsports end? The company's originator's been in motorsports for many years. Once this company's running, he will use it to generate funds to go into a motorsports program to promote his brand. So they get to see the ground from the ground level and participate in different parts of that business being put together up to the launch. That's something you don't get every day, to be a part of. And I think for them, where the confidence comes in, it's one thing to have me or Professor Pohlman say, hey, great job. When you have somebody in an industry that goes, man, you did a really nice job. That was nice work. And you're going, hey, I might be able to make it in this business, gives you that confidence. And we have a couple of different opportunities like that. That business end, Jeff Wolfman at BMC New York, a media company. We have internships with him. You learn a lot of data breakdown for the marketing end of things, which helps in motorsports and marketing. Jeff is an award-winning advertising agency based in New York City. On your resume, that looks awesome, and it's all done remote. It's been very helpful for our international students to take that because it makes it easy. They don't have to travel anywhere for an internship. It's been very helpful for my students, those that maybe don't understand the marketing component from a marketer's eyes. When you go to pitch a VP of marketing or a brand manager, how do they view your program? It's helped with my students going through Jeff's program to see the vision of what they're going to look at and look for as far as a return. And I think that's extremely important. So,
and to piggyback on that, Caleb Hayden's a student of ours that worked with Jeff, and I'm teaching market research right now. He's in the class, and it was from that experience, he's thinking, gosh, I might actually like marketing research. He spent an entire summer breaking down Excel spreadsheets, looking at data points for, I think it was hotels or something like that.
Yeah, for hotels.
And, if I would have told Caleb, hey, you're doing that this summer, he would have probably been like, oh my gosh, this is going to be the worst thing ever. Turns out he really enjoyed it. And now he's considering, I think I like data analytics and research, which I wouldn't have pegged that either on him. But it's really cool because he got that experience. He tried something that maybe he was like, I'm not sure. And he discovered, oh crap, I actually like this, right? That's what we're talking about right there.
And right away, I can think of 5 cup teams that would use his services tomorrow, hire him tomorrow.
Yeah, so we're doing that, and then just the internships we have on the marketing side of things, a lot of them come from local companies, local businesses here that are just looking for some help doing certain things. Some are paid, some aren't paid, but again, it's really about that experience and getting that. So I love working with students on that discussion of the career path. Where am I going? What avenue should I take? And kind of being a counselor to them on that.
The first work experience program most of my students get as freshmen is the Indianapolis 500 work experience program. So you can work the month of May for the Indy 500. You can work either the 3 days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, leading into the Indy 500 on that Sunday, or you can work the road course event, which is 2 weeks before, practice and qualifying. So you can adjust it however you want. We treat you as an athlete on those. So some of the sports marketing people would understand that you're on the road, you're on the go. I write a note for you. I'd let them know that you as a student is not going to be in class, but it's your responsibility to keep up with your homework, keep up with your assignments, because the minute you don't, that's it. But that's a paid internship. Indianapolis Motor Speedway pays pretty well. I think it's $12 or $12.50 an hour, which isn't bad. You learn, probably the greatest thing that you learn is how to get 350,000 people in about 4 to 6 hours. And then more importantly, how to get them out of the place in 4 to 6 hours to where you're at zero. And it's a great learning experience. Everybody that does it goes, wow, it's mind blowing how they do what they do. And that opens the door for you to think about, now you're not coming in as a race fan for motorsports marketing and management. You start thinking as a business person and start that thought process of not as a fan, but as somebody that's working in the industry and contributing from a business end.
Well, it's an amazing combo to be a fan and to work in that field.
Oh, for sure.
Because, and I love what you said a little bit earlier about receiving compliments, receiving positive feedback from people in the actual field. So much more than anyone else could ever tell you. Because I've done work where my friends told me it was good, my parents told me it was good, teachers would tell me it was good. But then I had an internship with Formula Drift, and then when they told me it was good, I was like, I think it's good. Yeah, I actually think it's good now. Yeah. Because what they said had so much value to me personally, and I never would have known that. I never would have been able to feel that if I didn't go out there, if I didn't get that connection, and I didn't get that experience with that internship.
My students right now in my motorsports sponsorship class, this is panic week, as I call it, because it's one thing to present your ideas or your sales project to an instructor. The requirement for the class is they have to present it to a company that they're pitching or a race team that they're pitching direct. Changes the whole game. When you're presenting to Professor Pohlman or Jackson or myself in the marketing or or a motorsports marketing end, it's different. When you have to actually present to a professional in the sport, one of my students presented to Spire Sports Entertainment's president last year. Oh my gosh, I thought they were going to die of nervous sweats before we had the call. They did a great job, presented a great concept. It was something that Spire said, we're going to look at this and maybe go to the next step with this. So it gave them validation that they actually did a great job. But the comment was made, boy, this is a lot different than presenting in class. Yeah, welcome to the real world. Yep. You're in the big game now. Welcome. So that's what we try to do.
And I love that. And I think the one thing that I wanted to touch up on was what kind of experience a student gets here. Because I did some research and it says the ratio between teachers and students is 25-1, which is crazy. Well, it's good for me because I love the smaller schools. I like small classrooms. We don't have any like giant lecture halls. Oh, I would never be able to learn in that environment. If I'm one out of 400 in the room, I'm not going to learn anything that way. But it's the same. I think about like a high school classroom where you got 30 desks and it's about ish. Would you say that it's like 30-ish kids in a room, something like that? Yeah. That's how I like to personally work. And that's how I actually retain information. So one of the questions I had for you guys is, what kinds of students are the ones that become successful? You have your students that just come and go and don't really do a whole lot, but then you have the students that come in and really succeed. So what would you say is the biggest difference to, let's say, a freshman coming in? What would you say is something that they should know to be that student that, graduates with flying colors?
It kind of stems back to what we were talking about earlier. I think I might be stealing your answer, but the thing is they're involved. They're getting involved in those other things, and they're pushing themselves outside of that comfort zone. So everything we talked about, I think the reason we talked about that is because I've seen it firsthand. Students who've had success doing that. And an example, story I could share is a student of ours, Sam Jackson, who graduated a few years ago.
Yeah.
Sam he joined the AMA. Was working on an internship, got an internship at Walmart in Bentonville, Arkansas, the headquarters down there. He called me a week after he started, and he was like, basically saying I got imposter syndrome because he was working with 3 other people, and I believe one was from Cornell, another one from Vanderbilt, and I think another one from Stanford, and there he is from UNOH, and he's still working there and doing a great job. And a success story, but Sam got involved. He took on leadership roles within the AMA, and he pushed himself. He went through he was an anxiety-ridden mess going through the process of these internships. It's scary, but he kept pushing. So it's that. It's what we talked about earlier. You do that. That's what I've seen.
One thing that I always want my students to understand, it took me a while to understand, whenever you're in business and whatever you're doing, first off, you got to have a passion for it. I'm fortunate because most of the students that come here for motorsports, they have a passion for motorsports. It's an adrenaline-driven sport. So you've got that passion, that need to be successful in it. But one thing, and this is by a Navy SEAL I saw at a conference one time. He said, what's the difference between being an Army Ranger, maybe in a Navy SEAL, or being in special ops in the Navy, and then becoming a Navy SEAL, then SEAL Team 6, moving up. He says, you're only one step away from greatness, and you don't even know it. And you've got to understand that you just put in the extra work, and you'll be where you need to be. So many times in your mind, you talk yourself out of it, and you feel like you're 3 or 4 rungs down. You're actually so much closer to being at the top than you even know. Believe you're there, put the work in, and you'll be there. You're just one step away. So we try to put our students one step away.
That really is great. And that's how I like to learn personally. And I think a lot of my peers can agree with that. Yep. So I'll end it off here. This has been an amazing podcast. I appreciate your guys' time. So the last thing that I want to ask you guys is, if you guys were to summarize the whole umbrella of College of Business, if you were to dumb that down into a couple sentences, what would you say to, hypothetically, a freshman coming in interested?
We're going to convert your passion into a working job, a career. We're going to convert your passion into a career.
And I think that is I think that was our slogan at one time.
Turn your passion.
I didn't create this, but it must have been beaten into my head somewhere.
Well, our branding and marketing team did a nice job, because that's I would say the same thing. I might add to that. We're going to help you discover what your passion is.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest thing. My passion might be drinking hot chocolate. I love drinking hot chocolate. It's not going to pay the bills, right? So we got to find the passion that you love to do, and then how can we get paid to do that, and then help you chase that.
And what we do is we send him through Professor Downing's agricultural program, so he can learn how to grow and raise the best coca leaves for the best.
Exactly. It all ties back together. Circle of life.
All right, Glenn, thank you guys for your time.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah.
Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. And tune in a couple weeks for episode 3.
Perfect.
Yeah.
There we go.
Thank you guys.